sad face.
I'm not ready. This the snap. This made me sad in so many times in so many places.
Guys, we did it. We made Tori cry.
We did make Tori cry. And then Lisa sent a message to Becca about the same thing that made me cry, and Becca forwarded it to me, and I was like, yeah.
I was surprised I got one single thought from Lisa, and that was it. Nothing else.
You towards the end once like that message had been forwarded to me, but yeah, I mean, I sucked at giving you updates on this because a lot of it I did while I was driving, to be fair.
Yeah, it's valid. Also, guys.
Also, hi. Yeah, we're sad. We made it to the end.
We have finished my favorite book series of all time. Sorry, how do you feel?
Series, guys, we did it.
How do you feel having mastered like the biggest of that's what she said. The biggest like series of Maasalong.
Sad that it's at an end. I don't want to leave these guys.
This is so good. Written
5, 6.
Love this for you.
Also, I read 3 of the biggest Throne of Glass books last month, and I died so many times over.
Yes, same.
Yeah, I'd started both of like the tandem ones beforehand, but I read the majority in March, and I read the whole entirety of this book in 3 days.
It's so good. What I was saying to Becca when I was reading this time, I did not realize just how quick this read for like an almost 1,000-page book. It reads so quickly.
Yeah, 100%. As always, this will be filled with spoilers. If you have not read this yet, please, we love you. Feel free to say hi, but please do not stay. I do not want to give you spoilers and ruin this for you. I managed to like not have any, and it was fantastic. So
we have done so well. Round of applause, because like you have managed to
match. Yeah, not like giving anything up. Your face has been like impeccable. I mean, you're impeccable anyway, but like you didn't give anything away. Shut up.
I said nothing. You can't tell me to show up.
Your face said it all. But yeah, like even when we were doing like Assassin's Blade, which I want to talk about later, like that whole thing. Now that we're at the end, we can have like all conversations.
So I do want to say the one thing that like I struggled to like hold together that I can actually say now was from book 1.
Yeah.
It was the first live, and it was the fact that you turned around and said, I want to see Nox again. And I was sat there like,
And do you know something? See, when everybody was amassing in book 5, like when we were at the end of Empire of Storms, my brain didn't even remember that I'd wanted, like, I didn't even have an inkling that somebody was missing, if that makes sense. Like, we'd had so many faces come back that my brain didn't click that somebody was missing yet. And as soon as I saw the name on paper, my brain was like, I know who that is.
It was one of those things of like, I remember reading it and going, Nox, what? Fuck off. Really? Oh my god.
It was the fact that also though, he didn't know who she was, even at that point, because to her, she was still Selena Sargothian. And I was just
that we're already running into spoilers here, guys. Do apologize. I'm not actually apologetic about it.
We're not apologizing for anything. We have given you the disclaimer. If you are still here at this point, we love you, but please leave. I've already told Charlotte to come back and watch it later.
Yes.
She watched Sprints earlier, and we were like, no. She was watching our Throne of I was going to say Throne of Games, our Throne of Glass live earlier on, and she was sending me thoughts about it. It was so cute.
Oh, bless her. Yeah.
Just quickly so we can catch up. So we're actually doing the comments. Internet is very confusing. It was my internet earlier. As long as it's not mine now, we're fine. No, you weren't shite. You just got pulled in like we did. It's fine. Oh, hi, Rosie. Hi, Becca. Hi to everyone. Yeah, this was literally me. This specifically was me.
It's really funny because like my favorite thing about that thing was he just like saunters up and he's like, hi, like what the fuck's going on? And then Lysandra's just like, who the fuck are you? And he's like, you're not her. you're like, and I'm like, what I will say is, I think that the way that this story is woven and how the ends of each and every, like, every plot line in this book is woven in so beautifully. I think it's incredible, and I feel as if Sarah J. Maas is a fantastic storyteller, and this is. I'm sorry, like, I know that some people, like, most people are ACOTAR girlies. I am not an ACOTAR girly. I am a Throne of Glass girly. This is just superior. And if you don't agree, that is 100% absolutely fine. Opinions are opinions. However, I feel as if, like, the world building in this is so much better than any of the other stuff. And I'm really sorry that this is the series you're starting with, Tori, because it doesn't go downhill from here, because the rest of them I still love, but nothing can compare.
I mean, none of the others are 8 books long either.
This is also true. This is also true.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I was putting all of the books that Becca got me into my like spreadsheet today, and I hadn't realised that apart from book 1, which is like 400 something pages, every other book of A Court of is like 600 plus.
Apart from Frost and Starlight.
Apart from Frost and Starlight, which is like 200 and something. I really hope I get that. It's a July book, so I'm gonna like genuinely love it, because in July I have to read a book that's over 800 pages for a readathon. So I have the one I've kept aside. It's the only one I own, is A Day of Fallen Night, which I'm finally going to read. And I was looking at it the other day and I was like, right, hold on. What prompt have I got? What's July? And I was dreading it because I was looking at them all and I was like 600. I was like counting it. And I was like, oh my God. It's like, yeah. Because if it had been like one of the other ones, I would have like read at the start of the next month and just not done that to myself. She says she reads, you know, this and this, but you know, making life easy for myself. But I was not ready to leave these guys.
No. I did not.
Emma is also a Throne of Glass girly.
Correct response. I don't have any notes because I just kind of binged this book.
Same.
So
we're going on pure vibes. Also, if anybody has any comments or statements that they want us to bring up, feel free to put them in. You can now not spoil me for anything. So if there's anything you wanted to tell us for like the past ones that I haven't said,
and also again, only for this series, no other series. Please do not spoil anything of the other series. We don't want that. We have managed to get like Tori knows nothing. Tori only found out what ACOTAR was about by me doing the synopsis on one of my TBRs.
Yeah, it was a one-sentence statement as well. You were like, right, so Tori's probably going to watch this, so here's your one sentence, and that's all I'm saying. I went, oh, is that what it's about? I text Smash. I was like, I didn't know it. I had no idea. I don't know what Crescent City is about either. I have not read the backs. I got them from Becca for my birthday. I'm very thankful. Thank you, Becca. And they're there, and I've hidden them. So I will literally just pull them out and start reading.
So yeah, as per, please keep the spoilers out of for ACOTAR, for Crescent City. We don't need those.
Yeah,
no, thank you. But all of the Throne of Glass books we can now talk about.
Yeah, you can say absolutely anything that you wish we'd said, anything that you want to go back to. Bring it up.
I'm looking at my crossover notes, and I don't actually have like I don't have like crossover from like
was one of them.
Because I have like Assassin's Blade, Crown of Midnight, Queen of Shadows, like stuff like that, but I don't actually have thing. I do have a prediction from you though, from the Throne of Glass live. I put Throne of Glass live, Tory prediction. Nox comes back with Rebel Band to help Selena. Technically, and I put technically correct for Kingdom of Ash.
I love that I thought about it for him, but didn't even think about anything else that happened in Assassin's Blade.
Like, well, this was for Throne of Glass. I literally was like, I want to know your predictions, and you said that, and I was like, I need to write this down because you were correct.
The man is just so good. Okay, she saved him, and then he helped her, and it just came full circle. It was amazing. Like, you guys know, I am a big fantasy reader. Like, I love big series. Like, I complain about the fact that they're this thick, but I will sit down and read them in 3 days. Like, the actual thickness of books never bothers me. I mean, I've got so many of them, but I loved with this how much stuff happened in like book 1 and book 2, and then got pulled in to like the last 2.
Yeah,
like yes, you left the characters and they disappeared off page, but they came back and had been doing something to help in the meantime, and she'd like put up calls and had like amassed all of these people, and it was just so.
Me and Becca were talking because Becca had said that she'd seen someone's review of this, and it said that it was a slog to get through and like it wasn't a good ending and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't agree.
No.
And I hadn't reread it at this point, and I was like, okay. And then I started rereading it, and I just got pulled into the story, and I forgot just how much like war happens in this book. Like it is a full out bloody war.
In so many places. Like it's not
And
even just a few of them with a few of them trying to rally. Like there is literally devastation on every chapter.
like Adian and Lysandra, literally all of their chapters are just them in a war camp constantly, like fighting for their
Baking the cake. Ah. Lysandra's just amazing. I love her so much. If you didn't know that I loved her already, then where have you been for the last like 5 lives?
incredible. She's incredible. Okay, so let's try and like get a bit of
some form of, even if we go character by character or like team by team, maybe is that the best way? Like who's with who?
Okay, in the comments, who do you guys want to talk about first?
Right. Well, the first comment. Oh no, wait. The first comment we've got is that I finished it at work. Oh no, I didn't cry at the end. I'll just say that, but I did cry during something that we will obviously talk about in a minute. Adore seeing Nesrin and Sartak again.
See, I knew that we were going to get them because I feel as if like you knew that they were coming to help with the war.
Yeah, I do love seeing them together though. I genuinely like their bond.
I like them as characters. I wouldn't say they're favorites.
I've got others that are way up there.
They're cool. They're really cool. And I also love that Sartak is just a simp. I was talking to Becca about this earlier, and I said like I quite quickly realized like the man has no real. I don't mean this awfully. He doesn't have like a proper personality apart from simping over Nesrin.
That and his rooks and his rooking. That's it.
Yeah, but I was like, he's just a bit of a simp, and it's quite cute.
The gods love him. Adrian did wind me up with how he was with Lysandra, but I also got why he was mad. He'd been lied to, but I wanted to shout at him so much. Yeah. I feel like it's understandable that he's mad, and I get why he's mad, because the fact that they wanted him to have kids with Lysandra, but it being alien kids is... I get why he's mad, but also, let's face it, he didn't tell half of them half the shit she was planning.
I think that he had every right to be upset. I think that he had every right. Do I think that he handled it correctly? No, but I also think that like if I was in a war and I found out that my best friend and like my childhood best friend and stuff was suddenly potentially dead, and then the girl that I loved was lying to me, and all these plans had been made, and my life was not mine.
Yeah.
The way I expected it to be.
Also, he could no longer really be with the person he thought he was going to be with because she's pretending to be his cousin. Like, it's so complicated. Like, I would love to say I wouldn't be mad, I wouldn't have shouted. Like, don't get me wrong, I would have had a shouting match, but I think he dealt with it wrong. But also,
my thing is, like, they didn't think about it properly, because at some point, Lysandra's kids would be able to shift.
Yeah.
Potentially. Obviously, it doesn't always, but there is potential that, like, her kids would be able to shift, and then it's like, oh, wait, she's a fucking shifter.
Yeah, years down the line, where's Queen? Who are you? Imposter. Wow.
Your child has just changed its eye color 4 times. What are you doing? Yeah.
I cried at so many bits, and it's so many character returns. Yeah. Hello. Dorian shifting. Him have that whole passage was just...
I feel like we need to like kind of get at that like specifically.
It can be a first thing, yeah. Rowan. Always Rowan. No, Becca, original characters first, please.
I mean, he is the original character. Sorry. I am a simp for Rowan. I am a simp for Rowan.
Let's start with Selena. or however the hell. I mean, Elena's, yeah.
Aelin.
Aylin's probably easier to spell than Selena, but I still can't spell either. So, the vision in the box maybe shows Aylin where she's happy, living a
Oh,
happy-ish life, and Mace is trying to find the keys. Yeah. He is the only character that matters, but this is a joke, but also not. Yeah. Right. Let's start with Aylin.
okay.
So, because I need to get like the hardest torture part out of the way first, so that I'm actually able to have the rest of this life, because it ruined me, and we're going to do it very, very quickly because I don't think I can discuss this in depth, because this part of the book broke me. Like, it's one of the reasons I'm glad this book is a multi POV, because if it had been consistently from Aylin's POV, I don't think I could have got through it. And it's currently one of the issues I'm having with this book. And that's all I'm saying. Like, there's just stuff that's constant, and because you don't change POV, you don't get a break. But the fact that not only was it physical, and we knew it was going to be physical because of the fact she left with Karen, and that's all I'm saying. But the fact that it was constant, the fact that it was mental as well as physical, because they kept trying to like get different ways to get the keys from her.
It's the
And
fact that like she never knew when it happened and when it didn't, and she didn't know what had happened, and she woke up and she had no scars, and there was no
she
pain
lost her
and stuff.
scars, and she lost her tattoos, and
She
just
had
the fact
no
that.
clue what was real and what wasn't. It was so fucked. And Sarah J. Maas has a really twisted mind.
And I can't think of his name, but the wolfie that had to stay in wolf form and stay in the room.
Fenris.
And I was going to say Fenris. Okay, good. I'm on the right one. I had Fenris and Gabriel in my head, and I was like, no, it's not Gabriel. That's later. But the fact that he had to just like wait, and he couldn't go anywhere, and then he had to witness it, and they got their blinking down to I am here. Oh, my heart was in like there were so many parts.
And then when his brother, I feel like we can't talk about this part without talking about his brother, and the fact that like that happened, because that was heartbreaking for him, not only to find out that his brother hated him, but also the fact that like his brother was just murdered in front of him.
And then the fact that she kept him back after and the fact that it broke his magic because they were so linked, even though like they hated each other, and it just there was so much like
one thing that we have always said about Sarah J. Maas, and I feel as if like this entire thing is really, really a testament to it, is Sarah J. Maas can write loss, and she can write trauma, and she can write grieving in such a way that feels so real. And also I feel as if like every time she writes about grieving, it doesn't always feel the same.
Yeah.
Like the way that Fenris grieves in this book is different to how Aelin grieved in Heir of Fire. It's different to how she grieved in Crown of Midnight. It's different to how Rowan grieved. It's different how like Dorian grieved. And I feel as if that's a testament to Sarah J. Maas, because it's showing that there isn't just one way to grieve. Obviously, like I would say as well, Aelin even grieves in this book, and the way that Aelin grieves in this book, because of all of the trauma, is completely different to the way that she's grieved previously in the series.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know she's not grieving. She like in this one, she's not grieving a friend. She is grieving her own like life. Because I feel as if like a lot of this book is her kind of grieving what's happened to her
and what could have happened, the potentials.
Well, also she's walking towards her own noose.
Yeah.
In some aspects. I've said this on multiple occasions. With my dad, me and my nana have always said, like, when my dad passed away, I wasn't upset about it because I grieved him when he was alive.
Yeah.
Because there was so much going on with him there. So I feel as if like that's kind of what Aelin was doing. She was grieving her own death, because for a lot of this book, she just assumes, hey, my life's forfeit. Yeah. And it's
all of this that's Aelin's POV is literally
I don't want to talk about it too much, because what I do want to talk about is the fact that Rowan turns around and says, and Rowan comes in and does not save her because she saves herself. Which
she's already out.
fucking loved.
It's so far gone.
I 100% the first time I read this book, I 100% thought that it was going to be a rescue mission and then she was going to get saved. And what I adored was the fact that Sarah J. Maas did not let the most badass character I've ever read be saved. She did not need saving. She saved her fucking self. Yes. Sorry. I'm very, very excited about that.
100%.
However, Rowan did do all of the nasty things to Ken, and not like the spicy nasty things, but the actual like gross, gruesome, disgusting nasty things. And Ken deserved every little
Every
bit.
single minute of it. Every single minute.
The fact that he was like, you said that if I whipped you, you would I can't remember exactly what
Something
she
like
said.
if you whipped me, you would never live to tell the tale, or something along the
Something
lines
like
of
that.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm really sorry that you didn't get to keep that, like you didn't get to deliver the blow, but I did that on your behalf. And it's like, that is
Yep.
love. That is love. What?
I'm not working. Oh, there we go.
That is love. That is love. And we might as well. We've got comments, so let's go to the comments. And then I feel like we should go to Rowan at this point.
He is also the only. Oh, I did that one. Not wrong. The fact she lost her scars. Yeah. The blinking, even after her and Fenris escaped, and then they were still doing it.
The fact that
they didn't have words. Like, there's not going to have words. When you've been in wolf form for that long and you've been psychologically tortured for that long, which is what Fenris went through. Like, he wasn't physically tortured, other than, well, he was in the fact that he wasn't allowed to move unless they gave him permission to move, which is definitely a form of torture. But the fact that he'd been stuck there for so long.
Yeah.
Like, when he changed back for the first time, I know we're skipping a bit, but oh my, I was like, the fact that he changed.
Just fill his pockets up. Oh.
Sorry.
No,
but yeah, the blinking got me emotional.
The going to the blinking again as well. I think it's really interesting that she, like, not interesting, but it was heartbreaking when she was with other people and she was blinking, and we knew what the blinking was, but no one around her did. So she's blinking, like, and like, are you okay or something like that, and she's just blinking twice, and you're like, oh, Pippi, it's fine. You're gonna be fine.
Also could have cried at how empty Rowan's POVs felt. They were so matter-of-fact and detail-orientated, no emotional. I just showcased how dead Rowan felt about Aelin.
I also think it's the fact that, like, he didn't get to, like, realize that they were mates, and he got told after the fact, and it was like this thing of like, he spent most of his life thinking that his mate died and it was his fault, and then to be told, oh, by the way, that's not your mate, lol, jokes, surprise, bitch, your mate is this incredible person, but also, lol, surprise, bitch, she's disappeared and you're probably not going to see her again.
He couldn't feel the bond because of the iron, and the fact that he finally did feel it, and then it was because Aelin had obviously gone mental, and I was just... The fact, though, that he took... oh my god. Why the fuck has her name gone out of my head? Black... Not Manon. Manon's... Yeah, a lead. A lead with him, with the guys. I was just like, oh my god, they're gonna go get Fenris and her and take them back.
I feel as if we kind of, like, we've skimmed over the Aelin thing, but I feel as if we should come back to it, because, like, the moment that she broke the iron coffin, and the fact that, like, she only did it because she thought that, like, he wasn't coming back and he wasn't coming for her, and it's like...
Also, the fact that that is what gave him the feeling to tell him that she was still there, I was like...
And then yeah, and it comes back around to, like, Sam's mantra helping her, and, like, Sam coming back in, and he's not in this book, but he's in this book because he is a massive part for Aelin, and, like,
yeah,
that's something that is really, really important. And I feel as if like that's one of the things that like, though his character isn't in this book and we don't get to see that, you still feel like the connection that she had, and you feel everything that like she's gone through and who she's become because of this man.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm skipping, but this.
Yeah. I'm thinking about things and I'm like, that isn't why I've got glasses on, by the way. I've got a bit of a headache, so but I just realized people might think that I'm just trying to like hide my tears. If I'm going to cry, I'm going to cry. I'm not that much of a person
Yeah.
that I'm bothered.
SGM's writing of grief in her later books really resonated to me, similar to Air of Fire. She's amazing at writing grief. Yeah, agreed.
And I will say that that is one of the things that is throughout all of her series. Like that's the one spoiler I'm willing to say, is that like you feel it throughout like all of her books.
The fact as well, Rowan wanted to save her captor for her to torture, but knew it was better to kill him than risk him surviving. Yeah, there was no way Karen would have let them get away as easily. Very lightly. And also, Rowan's not going to give them that chance. Like, there's no chance.
Like, I got so much satisfaction when Rowan was like, we're just going to have a chat. And, like, the dude was like, oh, shit. And like...
Yep. Agreed. I cannot. I do not have the ability to read this yet.
I would love to. I love this series so much.
It would not be a bad thing. Like I could literally go back to the start and reread, but I just do not have the ability. I just had my birthday, okay? I have way too many books.
I think it would be really, really interesting for you to do that so that you can figure, like you can read things and see all of the hints and stuff that you might have missed.
Probably, but not yet.
Not yet.
ACOTAR and Crescent City and others to do first. Yeah. Also the fact it was hinted. I hate Maeve. I'm going to say that here. We'll come back to him once I get to the bottom of the comments. But she deserves like nothing good.
I love her as a villain, but I hate her as a character. She was such a good villain.
She wasn't even like two-dimensional, which you can get in books either. Like she had history, she had background, she had thoughts and feelings and reasons why, which you kind of found out about in this book. And don't get me wrong, none of it is good. Like I'm not sticking up for any of it.
No.
But as you found out more about her, it's the same as like, you know, when you find out all the backstories for villains and you're like, oh, well, is it nurture? Is it nurture? Is it this? Is it that? Like you can kind of see a bit more of that, but it does not give her any reason for the shit she did.
And I also think that like it's interesting because I love how we were like, we're not going to talk about Maeve, but we're now talking about Maeve. I think it's really interesting because we see Maeve through the eyes of the person that she is telling her story to. So we see her backstory from Aylin's perspective in the dream.
Yep.
And Dorian's perspective when they're kind of like fake shacking up. Which I'm very excited to talk about that segment of the book because that was the most wild thing and I kind of loved it.
I love Dorian. Like he has exceeded my expectations from book one. That's all I'm saying now. And
Dorian had some balls. It was hilarious. But my point is we only have those bits of information that she told.
Yeah.
So we cannot take all of that on face value because like
unreliable narrator.
like I could sell you a crock of shit and say, hey, this is my life, this is how it's good and this is how it's bad. I never do, but I could, and I could be like, this was why I could like even to the extent of like the way I talk about my dad and stuff like that. Like I talked about it, and some people might be like, oh, well, she's only saying that to get like attention and to get sympathy, and it's like, no, it's just a part of my life. But some people would go, oh, well, this is what happened in this XYZ and blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. And it's very much how you frame it. And I feel as if like everything that Maeve does, she frames it in a way to be like, well, yes, I'm this bad person, but this is why. And I'm like, okay, but I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I'd love, Sarah J. Maas, you're not watching this, but if you ever are, what I would love is just a novella, like a like Tower of Dawn size novella of just Maeve perspective to see what happened in the other realm, because that shit sounds like I just want to know what actually, like, what the fuck's going on with Maeve. And I because
Maybe not even from her point of view, just like an overarching, not really a point of view, just a they did this, they did that, just tell us everything.
no, I want it from her point of view.
Okay.
I want it from her point of view, and I want to know exactly what happened.
That's where you get her thoughts. So you
Yeah,
can figure out what she's telling. What
I
she's
I
lying about.
want I want I want it I want to know more about Maeve, because I feel as if, like, yes, like, this is such a satisfying ending. This is one of the best endings of a series that I think I've read. I think that it's really, really, really interesting. I feel as if, like, it's such a good, well-rounded thing, and I feel as if, like, there are, like I said, it is one of the most, like, tucked in, well finished series. And I feel like the way she weaves, like I've said, she weaves in her ends so well that it's incredible. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, but we've only seen Maeve for like this much of the book, and she was like this much bad. And I want to know how she got this much bad from more than this much book. Yeah.
That makes so much sense. But yeah, she is an ass. I don't like her at all. But she was such a good villain.
I thought I could deal without my glasses. I can't. Just because of the glare, so I was trying to, like.
You can see mine too.
Yeah.
It's just because I look up at my TV from here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Maeve is just the fact that she does her bonds and like her warrior bonds, warrior. Can't remember what it is when they like Aelin did it with Fenris and that.
Blood Oath.
Mm-hmm.
Blood Oath.
Yes, thank you. The fact that hers was literally done with malice and with like contempt and everything bad, and that they could tell the difference between when they did it with her and when they did it with Aelin.
The fact that Fenris broke it, and then Aelin was like, "No, we're not doing this. Have my blood. I take." And then she forces him to live, and I'm like,
I was not ready. The fact that the guys were all like, "Fuck's sake! Like we just got him back," and then they're like, "It's over. It's done for," and they're like, "She can't do that," and then she does it anyway, and then I was.
what I love about this series is it should just be renamed. It should not be called Throne of Glass, the Throne of Glass series. It should be, people ask Aelin, say, "Lol, you can't do that." No, the people say it to Aelin, "You can't do that," and she says, "Lol, watch me." Because that's the entire series. The entire series is just Aelin being like, "Nah, I don't believe that."
Don't want that. I'm going to do this now. Bye. Right. Elide was badass as fuck.
Elide
Yes,
is
was.
the most intelligent character in this book, and she is so overlooked, and I hate it, because she is legitimately one of the cleverest characters in this book.
She
And
is amazing. I love her, and I love that. I don't love how they killed her uncle, but I fucking love that they killed her uncle. I love that she got her answers. I love that Aelin was like, "We're not going to kill you," and then they left him, and he was like, "Wait, what?" And then she was like, "Didn't say that we weren't going to kill you, but we're not going to kill you. Bye."
we're not gonna free you, but we're not gonna kill you.
I was physically driving down the motorway when that scene happened, and I remember thinking, I'm really glad I'm on like a straight road, because I was laughing, and I wouldn't have been laughing if that had happened to anyone else, but I hate him, so it was fine. But genuinely, I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it." And they were like, "Are you happy with this?" And she was like, yeah, let's go.
One of the things I think is a really, really nice touch is, would that have happened had Dorian not pretended to be him? Because obviously Dorian pretended to be him in Thingy. Then they found him because he'd been exiled, because he'd been asking too many questions, when we know that Dorian was the one who was asking the questions. And it's like that little chain reaction.
I just love that he got put to the like outpost as well, and they'd already gone, and he was just still left there, and they were like, "Oh well, goodbye, no one to see you." But yeah, he was an asshole. Love that she got her title back on the back of it. And I know we're skipping, but can we just talk about Lord Locken, Lord
Logan, Logan.
Locken? Because honestly, when I got to the end and it was like, if you marry me, you take my title, and I was like, that moment where you like ting what's going to happen, and I was literally sitting there doing like a little wiggle dance, and I was like, this is such a cool thing. And he was like, I will wear it. I will wear it with pride every day of my life or something. And I was like,
I remember I got a message from Becca going, I forgot about this bit, and I was like, how can you forget about Lord Locken?
I
It's
know.
the funniest thing. And
I love it.
I wonder if she always thought that that was going to be a thing, or if someone pointed out, hey, because she's a lady, he would take her title, and then she was like, that's even better. Like,
I wonder, or she could have named the lead's last name based on Larkin's first name. Like, there's so many ways it could have gone down, but the fact that that was one of the endings, literally, if you guys had seen me, like, I was ignoring everyone at this point. I was physically ignoring. I was in Vicky's house. Bobby had just arrived. We're waiting on Andy, and I was ignoring everyone. I had headphones in. My door was closed. Like, it was not happening. And literally was sitting there, like, doing a little wiggle dance. I was like, yes. But I love her. I genuinely love to lead in this book. Like,
I said it on the last live, I'll say it again. I feel as if it's so nice to have a character who is strong in a different way, because you have Aelin, you've got Manon, you've got Lysandra, even Lysandra's got like a slightly different way of being strong. But you have all of these really badass characters who are so strong and competent and stuff like that. And then you have a lead who is not competent battle wise, but she's so intelligent and she knows how to like twist something, and she knows how to like she has been able to like survive the world in a different way, and she's just such an incredible character, and she does not get enough like attention, and she does not get like all of the praise that she deserves.
Agreed. I'm going to skip over stuff unless we've got anything to comment on, but I'll bring them up if we've already talked about it. When she thought Ron wasn't coming, destroyed me. Elite was so good. Yeah, agreed. Same back at Eva when she says to him, you're supposed to be in Terracin. He's never not coming for you. Like, there's not a single thing I can think of that wouldn't have Rowan going after her. Like, regardless.
It's one of the things that I think is really funny, because like she doesn't listen to anyone, and she doesn't do what anyone says. But she was like, you're supposed to do the thing that I told you to do. And it's like, you wouldn't. No, that's not.
But also, I think in the scheme of things, her and Rowan are also quite new. Like, they've just gotten married. They haven't even realized that they're properly bonded, even though obviously they've started the process of like however it would work if they're that close together. Like, you can't blame her for thinking he's not gonna go after her when they're in the middle of a war. Like, you can't blame her for thinking that. But like, she was so strong in the fact that he was coming until the mind games got too much. And
it's the fact that like the only reason that she broke out of there was because she thought that there was a collar, and it turns out that that was just to keep Maeve away. And it like, oh,
the fact that Rowan and Co, like the lead, were spreading shit. In fact, this is a fantastic segue. A lead acting like a distressed lover to find out where Kieran was, while also going into taverns and spreading gossip about like shit to get Maeve away, which then moved her out of the castle so that she could be more protected, which made her less protected. And just, as you said, the knock-on effect of like one person's small action like over here affecting something over here. It's like a game of chess that's like 3D. Like, I don't know how SGM managed to write it. Like, my brain could not have kept up.
No.
Like, I mean, I'm not a writer. We all know this. But in general, like, as it came out, I was like, oh my God, that thing impacted that thing. And that, like, I was not okay, in case any of you didn't figure this out already. That was so funny. I loved it. And Larkin's hump about it. Is this figuring out that it's Larkin Lockin? Or...
I don't think so. I think we talk about that later on.
Is this when Fenris got the blood oath? Emma, if you can remember what this was about 10 minutes ago, let me know. to try and remember and move the comments down a bit. There were some parts as well that makes you think she might have had a point, but she was generally too shitty a person to fully get it. I think this is Maeve.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think it's got to be one of those things of like the where she was brought up and stuff like that. I don't think she had a choice in what she could thingy it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was about Lee going into town.
I'm going to leave that one for a second and just finish off the stuff about this because Lord Lochan is everything, which I still can't say. I completely forgot as well that her bonding marks went. Yep. Right. Hold on. This is still about stuff that we talked about. Roman apologizing to Aelin about the collar rumors because of how scared it made her. Was about when a lead was going into town. Oh, yeah. Larkin was totally huffing. But obviously they weren't talking at that point. And
also the fact that like Lorcan was the one who had the period things for
he broke up his shirts and wouldn't let the guys tell her that they weren't his, so she would use them.
Like, that's love. It's a weird kind of love, but it's a love.
I said as soon as I saw them books ago that they were two of the ones I hoped ended up together, and I was so happy that they did. I mean, there was a lot of pairings, let's face it, in this book that I wanted because I am a shipper at heart. If you watch TV programs with me, you will know Richie's forever going on about the fact that they're fictional characters, and I'm like, I don't care. Fuck off. he bought me a t-shirt at one point that said I'm in love with something about I'm in love with fictional characters because I would always get too attached to them and then they would die because obviously they die in everything, whether it's books or movies. But yeah. As horrible as it is to say, Dorian really grew from the collar incident. It made his character into more the character he needed to be, and it was amazing to see how strong he became. Yeah, I think the other thing that was really interesting in this one is you got to find out a bit more about his dad. And the fact his dad's name was literally lost and stolen from him, which is obviously what it had been going on about, and that his dad's name was Dorian. It was the one time he managed to remember his name.
Yeah. I feel like go to Becca's last comment and then we can go on to Dorian because I feel
the only one I've missed is this. I would love a book about Vulg in their world, which
this is the Maeve. And I want here's the thing. I know a lot of people were laughing at like the Tower of Dawn size novella. That was supposed to be a novella, and then it turned out to a full size book. That's the joke. I want.
We know.
I want it.
Skipping, but Elaine riding out on the horse to find him.
The horse from hell.
That wouldn't talk to anybody else, but let her.
Yeah.
And he was under bodies and had given up.
And that had happened.
Honest to God, the fact that he was still down there. And then she was like, no, but where is he? And everybody was like, oh, shit, he's not here.
The other thing of that I think that we have to go into is the fact that Aelin had been tunneling into her power for so long to do a killing blow, and that's why she was off for other reasons, but a part of it was because she could not stay in that world because she had to keep that fire under wraps. And then it turns out, oh no, actually maybe this is the reason that I had to tunnel for that long. And the moment they realize that she's had 3 months of just channeling her powers, and it's like, holy shit.
I would love to see these books as movies, but also I wouldn't want them to spoil them, so I'm terrified if they decide to put them into movies. Animated, yes, because they wouldn't be able to screw anything up. Like, you can do everything in animation.
But let's go back to Dorian, because so Dorian has a very interesting.
Sorry, I'm just giggling at him in the castle with Maeve.
Okay, let's talk about that first then. The fact that his Playboy antics really helped him in that was great.
I don't know what I found funnier. The fact that he managed to get a Volg spider, not just a spider, just a Volg spider to talk to him, to tell him stuff about how to shapeshift and use magic. He then managed to practice that around all of the witches, not just Manon's coven, all of them. He then managed to actually do it. He stayed long enough for shit to go down with Manon, which we'll come back to. And then he was like, right, okay, I need to go. You go that way, I'll go this way. We will divide and conquer without telling her as such. But still, that was kind of the thought. To which he managed to actually get into the castle.
Just to be caught by Maeve.
Just to be caught by Maeve because...
And then...
of all things.
But then he weasels his way out of it because he's just like, I'm just going to flirt. And I'm like, all right, mate, why not? Fucking do it.
And then the fact that he literally just shapeshifted into any living thing that he could think of that was small enough to get through the gaps of where he needed to go, to be able to completely get around the castle, which I thought was amazing in the first place. But then as you get further in and you realize what he's doing, when he was saying that he'd like been cracking the magic and like destroying the castle and all of the time he'd been going around it, I was like...
I also loved the fact that he absolutely fucked Maeve over, in the sense of like, he was like, you really thought that I was going to let you into my head, and you really thought that I wasn't going to learn from your power, even though I've learned how to shapeshift.
Yep.
And I was like...
And the fact that he managed to find the girl who had the stone, the same as oh, not Lysandra. Oh my god.
Keltain?
Keltain. I was like, Ace bugger who blew everything up. Like the fact that she also was like, no, kill me. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And the fact that he then obviously got the stone, and then she was like, hello. And he was like, no, you're not doing this to me. And the fact that he brought it down around them, the whole castle, or keep, or whatever the fuck it was called, and that he'd been like slowly managing to destroy everything. The fact that he managed, like, he had that power. Like, Dorian is like fucking strong. Like,
well, here's the thing though, like I think what we forget is I've just spilled stuff all over.
I did that with tea earlier.
I think one of the things that we forget is that like him and Aelin are the only ones who can forge the lock, because they have the same amount of power. And I feel as if the only reason that we don't realize just how strong Dorian is because we constantly get told how strong Aelin is, but we don't really get to see that from Dorian's side, apart from the fact that he has like essentially wild magic, and he has like this magic that isn't contained to one type of magic. Like Aelin's is fire. That is all she can do, apart from the tiny drop of water.
It's so important in this book, though.
Yeah. But he has like infinite possibilities.
Yeah.
Like, which kind of fucked that it's a dude. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of fucked that like it's a dude. And if we're gonna go into this, the only thing that I do not like about this book is the fact that Aelin has to give her power up. Because fuck that. Why do women always have to give their power up in fantasy books?
The only thing that redeemed that for me was the fact that Dorian tried, and Dorian's dad also tried. Like, they both were there, they were both with her. It just sucks that it took so much of Aelin's power.
Yeah.
But I loved the fact that Dorian's dad, King Dorian, rather, that doesn't really work either. Older Dorian.
The king.
Yeah, the king. The fact that like he turned up, and the fact that Dorian kept calling different people to him, and he kept seeing different people.
Yeah. The fact we got to see Keltain again.
We saw Keltain and we saw Nehemia. I was okay.
I feel as if we can't really talk about Dorian without talking about Manon. So I feel as if we should go to potentially the worst part of this book. We'll talk about Manon first, and then we'll go to the bit that makes everyone cry and is horrifying and incredible. And but Manon in this book is phenomenal, and Manon
Queen.
The fact that she grows so much in this book alone, but also is just so sneaky
I love Queen Manon.
The fact that like the fact that she does underhanded things to get what she wants, and she's not apologetic about it. Like
Nope.
they like we know from the sword that Manon was lying when she said, I didn't orchestrate this, and she did to gain their trust. Like it's fucked, but
I
it's
don't
also war.
I don't think she thought it would be as big a thing as it was.
No, I don't think she cared.
I don't think it was.
I
I don't think she even thought about it. I think she just went, I need something to happen. This will happen, and then I can save them, and then blah.
I think that in the sense of I think that in war there are things that you have to do for the greater good, and I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm saying that if it gets to the like there are reasons that you kind of understand.
Yeah,
It's the same as if we go back to Adian and Lysandra. We understand why Lysandra and Aelin made those decisions,
yeah,
but they're not right.
yeah.
And I feel as if Manon doing this to the like the Crocans.
I love this. So Manon is my queen. She could turn me. Manon could do unspeakable acts to me. Get in the queue, Emma. Sorry, they're making me giggle. But also, I'm here first. Although I think technically Smash was here first because she read it way before I did. But yeah,
I'm right. Here's the thing: we all know that I have done a reread of this series where I've only read Roellen.
yeah.
Like I love Manon and I love Dorian.
Such is mine. Got
it. But like they're not. Then like there is a reason that me and Becca like have said that Rowan is our like book husband.
There you go. You three can have him, and I'll have Manon. Sorted. But yeah, Manon is an absolute badass. The fact that she finds the Crocans and then they're like, no, you can't just say that you're queen. You have to like do something to get the crown. And then she gets the crown. And then she has the 13 and the Crocans. And then she goes under a peace banner to talk to the other witches, which they let happen, which obviously the matrons are not happy with afterwards.
No.
And the fact that Petra then after, like at the end, is so close. I just loved the fact that she ended up with a Crocan and a Blue Blood, like being not her number twos, because I think it will take her a long time to be able to consider anybody in Astrid's place. Astrid. You know that thing where you listen to something on an audio and you don't know, like your brain and my brain doesn't.
Yeah.
But like,
I think we need to talk about it.
I understand why they did. I think they're fucking incredible for what they did, but I will never forgive SJM for what she's done to my heart.
I love
how the only comment that we've got about it. So funnily, but not funny, my page is stuck at the 13th scene and I went from them talking to them being dead and I was like,
oh no.
This is horrendous. So I was reading this scene. I was driving down to Vicky's and this was the scene that was on as I pulled into her housing estate or like the section of the town that she stays in. And I literally parked my car, like, so you turn like right and then right again, and then it's like at the end of the road. And I literally pulled my car over as soon as I got in that street in front of a house. I don't even know whose it was. So I could listen to the end of this chapter, because if I park my car in front of her house, her dogs go nuts. And I couldn't have parked my car and then stayed in the car. So I then sat for like 8-10 minutes down the street sobbing. Until I could see enough to move like the minute and a half drive to her house.
And then I got a message being like, so I've cried. And I was like, yes. I love the fact that
I don't even know where to start though, because it doesn't even just start with them dying. There's so much before it that is so pivotal to the fact that they had to do it. Like
I love the fact that it was prophesized and we didn't know it was a prophecy.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing of like this, like it was a curse, and it was just words, and everyone was like, oh, like it's never gonna happen, and then that's what it was.
Yep. The fact that, so for me, this whole thing starts with the fact that obviously Aideen and Lysandra and Co are inside. They see everything arriving and they're like, shit, we've got like one more night to prepare. So they get gunfire from Rolf and they bury it in 3 places and they miss with 1, which buys them time because they get rid of 2 of the witch towers, but they're still left with 1. They manage to just about get rid of it, and then it takes some time to refill. And in that time, you've got Lysandra being a fucking badass coming out of a sewer and in a river. She called it a sea serpent, and then she went, well, I guess it's a river serpent. And I remember the fact that she was like, meh. Like, that whole thing is amazing. The fact that you've got the 13 and all of the Crokens taking on everybody else in the sky. And then, I can't even remember who it was that fought. One of the matrons, I want to say it was Petra, where they went straight into the sky in the fight and she corkscrewed around her so she could, the second.
Potentially. I don't know.
That whole scene where she was like keeping her corkscrewed so that the wings couldn't open and everyone was like, oh my God, you're going to die. Like you were going too fast. And then she came out of it and Manon was like, oh my God, that was so good. Like, even she was like, I've never seen anybody do that, which obviously then got rid of a matron. But like the whole thing with all of the fighting all over the place. Like you could see Lysandra, you had, oh my God, what's with me in names today?
Against Iskra.
Against Iskra. Thank you. I knew it was one of the matrons. I just could not for the life of me. My brain is like over.
I feel like as well, like as much as I love Sarah J. Maas, there's a lot of names that are very similar.
Yes. And the fact that I'm now just hyperventilating over 900 pages of book is a topic.
I feel as if like we have to say as well, like talking about the fighting, it's really interesting to see that every single battle in this book feels different. Like every single battle does not feel like a slog. It feels like I personally felt as if like every single time I read something, I was reading something new. I was reading something that was relevant. I was reading something that like I needed to know.
I don't know if it's also because we saw so many people, like we saw so many of the battles from different points of view as well, which
I think it was
like it wasn't all just Aylin's point of view.
I think it was also interesting because at one point you see this one like lonely little soldier. There's a point of view from this, and I've never noticed it before, but I noticed it in this reread. And it's literally like a foot soldier, and it was like, oh, he signed up and he told his friends he was going to fight for Terrasen and stuff like that. And now he knew he was going to die for Terrasen. And I'm like, this is probably a teenager. This is probably a kid who just wants glory. And it just broke my heart.
I don't know how, but I found the page. I don't know if I want to read it or if I'm going to be sad.
Oh. Anyone who doesn't want to hear about this.
No, it's after it. I'm not reading the actual bit. I'm reading the bit after. Manon looked from Petra to Glenys and Bronwyn. What would you like to do? Go home. You and the Crokens may leave whenever you to the waste together. And then it's when they all Manon blinked and blinked again as Bronwyn extended a fist toward Manon and opened it. Inside lay a pale purple flower, small as Manon's thumbnail, beautiful and delicate. Bastions of Crokens just made it here, a bit late, but they heard the call and came, all the way from the wastes. Manon stared and stared at that purple flower. They brought this with them from the plain before the witch city. The barren, bloodied plain, the land that had yielded no flowers, no life beyond grass and moss. And Manon's sight blurred, and Glenys took her hand, guiding it toward Bronwyn's before the witch tipped the flower into Manon's palm. Only together can it be undone. Be the bridge, be the light. When iron melts, hold on, let me just read the bit. When iron melts, when flowers spring from fields of blood, let the land be witness and return home, and so the curse is broken, and so we shall go home together as one people.
I'm gonna say you have traumatized Becca. She's had to take her headphones off.
It's done.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the fact that, going back to what actually, like, the fact that every witch gets one burst of power and they thought that the only way they could do what they were doing to amplify it was using the towers, and the 13 found a way around that without even meaning to.
Yeah.
And the fact that the 12 of them flew in and just went, fuck you all. Like, and the Braxos got hurt.
I think that going back to the 13, it was very much something that we kind of expected from them. They have always been this fighting.
Oh, they wouldn't have stood back if they thought they could do something. There's no way.
And I think it's actually the first time that you ever see them. I don't want to say betray Manon, but like betray Manon.
Yeah. They didn't accept her stand down. This is happening. They went, no, we can actually do something about this. But I'd forgotten.
Sorry, you've made everyone cry. I hope you're happy.
I am, because you made me all cry. You made me read it. You made me cry.
Maybe next time we're not going to read out passages from the next books. Let's not make everyone cry and not like us.
They all love me. It's fine. I hope.
Here's the thing: you can love people and not like them. It's very easy to do
that. But yeah, I don't think it would have been in character if they hadn't gone and done it, or at least if they hadn't tried. But I was really sad that Manon and Abraxos couldn't go and help.
Yeah,
like I pictured the 13 going as the 13 if they went down. But the only thing I'm going to say to end all of the talk about the 13 and Abraxos is I love that at the end when Manon is flying off, that her and Dorian didn't really strike up a deal, but they didn't not strike up a deal. So in my head, they're a thing. It's happening.
I think the fact that Manon turned around and said, "Stay with me," and he was like, "Give me a reason." She was like, "I'm a reason." That is even
and the fact that they were both like, we've both got like a kingdom and a queendom to go fix, but I can come back and I can come to you and I can help you train. And the fact that one of them, I can't remember who it was, but somebody was like, would you just get married already? It made me laugh so much. Like, it was just so good.
It's great.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So I feel like we talked about those.
We saw Nehemia. And Nehemia knew what she was doing before she even arrived.
Which we kind of knew.
Yeah, but we didn't know the extent.
I mean, we did because we saw it in the flashback of the last book.
Is that not this one?
Nope.
Oh.
That was
Manon. That tells you how many of them I read last month, because
that was Manon and Aelin went to the thing and saw all of the flashbacks.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that we're going to have to talk about my least favorite couple. One of my favorite characters, but my least favorite. I'm going to have to mute my watch because it keeps on buzzing. I think we're going to have to talk about one of my least favorite characters and one of my favorite characters. Let's talk about Kayla and Irene.
I was like, I don't think she's a way to say Lysandra and Nadine, but I was like trying to figure out which couples we hadn't spoken about yet. And I'd forgotten them in the list of people. So that tells you everything, considering I love Irene.
So Irene, I think, is incredible in this. I will Becca.
Yes. They would have to. We don't have to make it long. It's fine. I still see his name as Kale, which always makes me giggle. Yeah. Like,
so
Irene's a badass, man.
Yeah, so I think that I saw this on TikTok, and the more I think about it, the more it does really annoy me. The absolute audacity of them doing shit to get pregnant. Like, my thing is, right, do what you got to do, and if you want to have kids, that's absolutely fine. But you're going into a fucking war. Why are you not doing more to do protection? Like, you're both going to be fighting on the front lines in your own different ways. It's so irresponsible. and thinking, Raymond, I'm really sorry. You don't realize that I'm a Kale hater. We found this out
No.
last live show. I mm,
Um,
um,
only seed I cried was Dorian and Kale, but he pissed me off instantly when he voted Aelin to die over Dorian.
but we always knew that he was going to
I
pick.
always knew that was going to happen. There was no way, even with Kale and Aelin's history, that he was going to pick Aelin over Dorian. Not a chance. In fact, if he had, I'd have been more pissed at SJM for it because I'd have been like, the fuck.
I watched a TikTok where someone was talking about predictions for Sarah J. Maas books and stuff like that. And sorry, I saw Raymond's comment, and I'm not going to go into the Kale hate because I have reasons as to why I don't like him, and I disagree very hard. Obviously, my own opinions, your own opinions, we can disagree with about of a book. 100%. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not like, if you love him, that's great. I'm really happy for you. I have very, very different opinions for him.
You won't have to fight over him. You're fine.
And that is why reading is so interesting, because it's so subjective. That sounded really sarcastic. I genuinely meant it.
I was also waiting for your thumbs up things to happen, and it didn't happen. There we go.
And I've lost my train of thought.
Dorian and Kale.
Yep. So I was watching it, and someone was saying like they'd predicted things previously, and they don't go into like predictions and like things like that anymore, because the last time that they predicted something, they thought that it was going to be that Dorian and Kale got together, and that Tower of Dawn was going to be Kale realizing he was in love with Dorian romantically, and then he got married to a woman, and she was like, that book was entirely set up for them to be together. And I was like, actually, yeah, I could 100%.
I was like, yeah, I could have seen that.
Yeah. But yeah, so look, Kale, I think he was fine in this book.
He was okay in this, like. Oh my God, Dorian. To be fair, I think Dorian is the only person who could handle it properly, other than Irene. To be fair,
I think he grew
on me. He grew on me after being seriously injured, almost the same as Dorian having the collar on and having that huge thing happen made him realize that other things are more important. Like, he wasn't as self-obsessed in these books, and I don't know if that was because Irene didn't let him be as. See, I don't think he was as much in this one as he was in like 1, 2, 3.
I think it was nice. Like, don't get me wrong. I think that him standing up to his dad was great.
Yes.
I think him, but even then, technically, he didn't. Aelin had to do like most of the heavy lifting. She was the one who was like, "You need to say this to your dad" and stuff like that. And that was when he got the balls to do it. I'm just saying. I think that it was lovely, the fact that he found out that his mother still wanted to talk to him, and I thought that was a beautiful little scene of him realizing, oh, actually,
my dad's an asshole.
Yeah. But I just, after realizing what I realized from the last book of Kale being insufferable, and realizing that up until very, very far in the game, he was still judging Aelin about everything that she was doing.
Oh, he's nowhere near my favorite character. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he puts his POV is so small for me in comparison to the rest, especially in this book.
I also think it's a shame, because I feel as if like Irene should have gotten more screen time.
Yes.
I feel as if like she had such a really important role to do, and obviously she did do really, really well. And also, I really want to see her making a Tori Chesme in Ardlin. I want to see that. I want to see that. But I feel as if like a lot of it was based around him, and really I wanted to see it based around her.
Yeah. It's okay. I knew what you meant. It's fine. There's loads of shit I write wrong. Ask these guys. They get typos from me all the time. Irene and Elite working together was shit. Yeah. It was
the fact that she was like, I could fix your leg, and it's like
Honestly, I almost started crying at that point. And the fact that she was like, what does it take? And she told her, and then she was like, okay, what does it take if we don't do that? And she told her, and she was like, if we make it through the war, we'll talk. And I was like, you're gonna make it. Like, but by that point, you really don't know who the fuck's gonna make it. So honestly, I was like, and the
I
fact
also think that, like, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, even the fact that Irene, like, when she was doing the assessment, was like, this is fucking horrendous. Like, the fact that this got this bad, like, I broke my ankle. Like, I broken my ankle. I know how bad it can be. Like, I was in a cast for ages because mine just wouldn't set. I have a plate and pins and I got them out again because then it started to heal badly and it was pushing, like, there's loads of shit that my ankle did. And the fact that she even had what she did and managed to deal, I am, like, in awe of a lead. Like, my ankle sucks having healed. Never mind.
I think as well the fact that, like, she was, like, aware of it, and I think that it's one of the things of, like, she was told, hey, it's going to be difficult if you want it healed, but it's going to be difficult if you don't, and either one, whatever bandwidth you've got, is fine. And I think that's a really, really good way to kind of look at it, because, like, let's be real, we have a lot of friends who have got, like, chronic illnesses and issues with, like, with joints and stuff like that. We know a lot of people, and it's very much, it was really nice to kind of see that, because, like, don't get me wrong, I'm one of the healthier, I wouldn't say I'm healthy, but I'm one of the healthier ones in our friend group, and, like, I can just kind of sit back and go, right, cool, is there anything I can do? Like, what do you need from me? But also I know that it's like, I don't know, it's one of those things, if it was nice to kind of, like, for it to be taken seriously, but also, like, hey, this is the risks and this is what you're going to have to go through either way. So, like, you've got to decide if it's worth it.
Yeah, it was really nice, especially when it's something that we can actually relate to. Like, a lot of the illnesses you see in fantasy are either something you wouldn't ever see. But the fact that it was a conversation held so intensely about something that, obviously, you know, it's not exactly the same, but it's literally rheumatoid arthritis and you're losing the padding for your joints. Like, it's pretty much what I've got.
You could 100% see, if you took her, like, a lead from Throne of Glass, you put her in a setting that is, like, non-fantasy, it is our world, and you said, hey, this is just because she was, like, abused by her uncle, and this is what happened, the same thing, the same outcome could happen.
Like 100 years ago, where there wasn't the medical technology, if she was, say, in a poor household where they wouldn't have had access to proper medical care and stuff, like, that could easily have happened. I mean, obviously it could happen in certain places now, but thankfully it's slightly less than it would have done 100 years ago. But the fact that it was just a conversation was amazing. But also, Irene defeating the Volg and taking, like, all of the Volgness out of all of the soldiers after the battle.
Also, can we talk about, like, her and Aelin meeting again and both of them just being so happy for each other?
And the fact that she kept the note.
And the fact that, like, Aelin, like Kale was like, you might not recognize her, and she's like, Irene Towers, you actually like this, and she, and I'm like,
and then it was like Irene Westfall, and I wasn't so happy about that part, but, like, still, doesn't matter. Like it was just the fact that the two of them were both like, holy shit, you survived. Like, you are here.
And the fact that, like, Irene was like, I did what you asked. I taught everyone I could. Like,
everyone.
I love them. I love them so much.
I have so many thoughts, and so, like, I just didn't have time to stop while I was reading because it was just constant. And I feel like I should have written more notes, but also I would have had pages and pages and pages because every page would have had a note. So
yeah, it's difficult, man.
In my head, she was Irina rather than Irene. It sounded more exotic. To be honest, for ages, I was calling her Urine.
Why? Because it's Yrene.
Yeah. I think I listened to the audio, so obviously I heard Irene, but also I know that a Y is like an I because my aunt's Irene. And, like, I've seen Irish written with a Y, so I just kind of guessed, to be fair. Can we talk about how Gabrielle tried to keep magicking the lead's foot brace but kept forgetting, and Lorcan wasn't allowed to do it for her, so the moment he could, he immediately did it?
Like, I
the fact that Gabrielle was trying to help when Lorcan was, like, in the bad books, because let's face it, they had a bit of a miscommunication happening. Because
I
as
mean,
far as the lead knew, he chased Maeve, which is fair. He did.
but it
But like
wasn't
when
because
he
he was Smith.
finally got her to listen to him, and he was like, I was trying to get to Aelin for you. I was like,
And the only thing that like I thought was hilarious was she was like, well, Fenris did it, and it's like, bitch, like
Fenris like
Fenris almost
almost
died.
fell. Yeah. But yeah, I genuinely hate Maeve for the amount of pain she put them all through breaking their bonds.
Yeah,
But love the fact that Aelin managed to heal that. And I love that Aelin's like sole thing was, do you promise to protect the country?
yeah,
That's it. I do not care how you do it. I do not care where you go. Like, this
yeah,
is generally it. And I love that I think it was a lead was like, why have you not offered it to me? And she's like, because you're a lady. I can't have you not having your actual vote. Like, I need you to have the vote so that I can get my crown.
and also like the fact that she was like, you, I need you to be the person there who disagrees with me,
Yeah, because
and
you
like I feel as if like who can disagree with me, and it is like a disagreement in the sense of like you will tell me what it is, whereas I don't feel as if you feel as you're beholden to me.
yeah, I just loved it so much.
I feel like we've
Can
gone back,
we? Hmm?
I feel like we've gone back to a lead accidentally, but she's great.
It's fine. She's great. We'll do this real quickly. Even though Aelin was like, girl, you need to get over it. But at the same time, she was like, I'll got him for you. I feel like we really need to talk about. Fuck, I was going to say Cassandra. That's not the right name.
Lysandra?
Lysandra. Thank you. I was like, that's.
Lysandra and
Um, we need to talk about Lysandra, but we also need to talk about Little Missy, but we'll talk about her after Lysandra and Gideon, because they come together as like a little family unit, and anybody who disagrees with me is wrong.
I don't think anyone would disagree with you.
I know, but if they do, then they're wrong. Properly, Lysandra.
So I like Adian and Lysandra is potentially the most heartbreaking for me. Because I don't think that Lysandra's done anything wrong in the sense of like she's done what her queen wanted her to. And it wasn't right, but it's not wrong.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that Adian has 100% right to be so angry.
Agreed.
And I think that it's one of the most heartbreaking point of views, because where you have Rowan who's looking desperately for Aelin, you've got Irene and Kale who were disgustingly happy. Ew. You've got Manon and Dorian who are working together to try and do something, and you've got Adian and Lysandra who literally can't be in a room together.
And who, like, weeks before were like teasing each other and flirting and like, oh, I just can't. The fact that they take away Adian's leadership, but all of the guys still come to him to make sure that they're all happy with what they're doing. And then even in the battle, they just keep coming to him, and he's like, I'm not your captain. And they're like, fuck off, mate, you are. Like,
yeah.
I'm just, it gave me the warm and fuzzies, because the guys at the top at that point were shit. We do not like that.
Yeah, it's the fact that he, like, is it Darrow?
Darrow, yeah.
Darrow turns around at the end and he goes, I shouldn't have taken this from you. Like, I should have realized I was wrong. It was pride. It's one of those things of it's like, it's nice to hear and nice to realize that, like, he was wrong.
Yeah.
But it's difficult.
I think
also the fact that Lysandra is like fully like, so when she gets hurt and Adian comes back and he's like, I'm really sorry, and she's like, no, you don't get to do this, you don't get to like pretend that I'm worthless. I've been made to feel that for the most of my life. You don't get to come in now because you've seen me grievously hurt, and it like fix everything that you've done in the past, things to humiliate me.
Yeah.
And all I've done is what you would do for your queen. and I totally respect her for that.
1,000 times over. Why the fuck? Who is Lysandra's little girl? Why can't I think of her name?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
It's literally not on the pages that I'm looking at, and it keeps coming up with her
Evangeline.
Evangeline. It was, I could find her lady title, which is what I'm trying to say. The fact that you got there just before Emma did. The fact
Evangeline.
that Evangeline.
Sorry.
Yeah, the fact that as soon as, like, that girl works magic with Darrow. Like, the fact that she had a conversation with Aelin, who was like, get me back my crown, and then she, like, disappeared and we didn't think anything of it. Like, she's just running around being a messenger. Like, she just wants to do something.
I will also say I had so much respect for Darrow in the sense of he was like, we don't need, like, she's going to worry herself sick if she's in her room. She might as well be doing stuff. Like, as much as I don't like the dude, the fact that he looks after the little one,
yeah,
is a
and
big
the fact
thing.
that by the end of it, she somehow managed to get Adrian his sword back. Lysandra is properly a titled lady. She is then the ward and the inheritor of Lysandra, but not only Lysandra, also Darrow. Like, that little girl went from rags to riches. Like, we know that Lysandra does as well, because obviously we found, like, Lysandra's merchant uncle, and, like, there's family that she didn't have before, and she saved up, like, we'll come back to that in a sec. Like, she saved up money and she's worked fucking hard for, like, her own. Like, she's dragged herself out of the dirt. But Evangeline has now got fucking kings and queens on her side. Like, that girl is going nowhere. And, the fact that, like, they just make such a cute little family, like, unit. And
the story I want to see is the war is over. Everything's happy. They've started rebuilding Terrason. And they go back to Ardalan and they find, what's her name, the madam?
yeah.
The one who fucked over Lysandra, the one who like was gonna do the same to Evangeline, and they get revenge. I want to see that story. Sorry for clapping.
No, genuinely, 100%. Oh, not wrong one. The fact that Adie and Lysandra can be argued to be the same side of the coin but different formats, yeah. The fact Lysandra didn't forgive him at first also was brilliant, but also caring that she was safe, yeah. And that's why I didn't care. We got it. We all know. I mean, my typo, I'm not dyslexic and my typos are horrendous.
How many times do I say stuff that like constantly out of thing because same dyslexic?
My brain just can't remember names, especially in a book, like in a series this big. Like, I know who I'm on about, and I can. That's why I go like that person such and such, because family lines work, but names.
There is a pub near me. It's a Weatherspoons, and it's called the Hat and Feather. And the amount of times that I've called it the Fat and Heather.
Yep, I love that. That would probably be the name that I would then start calling it, and everybody who didn't call it that would then be like, "Oh." The older guy as well, who all knew they wouldn't survive, but he was still brave enough to try. Honestly, that Lord took, like, the fact that he knew, because there was no way at that age that he wasn't going.
No,
The fact he went down and fought with the younger guys and like gave them the strength to fight.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah. Also, the fact that like Lysandra meets her uncle, and
for
he's
the
like,
first time,
you will want for nothing. Like, you will have everything in the world I can give you. And she's like, I've already got everything I need. And it's like,
but you've got your family now, and like,
also,
the fact that he searched for so long.
Also, can we appreciate that Fleetfoot survived?
Yes. Oh, I don't want to say this, but we need to talk about Gabriel, and it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Because he's the only one of the cadre who doesn't make it at the end. And it really hurts because if Aelin had given him a blood oath, I don't know if something would have managed to stop it. I don't think it would have. Like, he did so much fighting at the end there that I don't think he could have survived it, regardless of Aelin being there.
She couldn't have given him the blood oath because of Adian.
She was never going to, and he knew that.
And
like, Gabriel never asked for
it. Adian would never have forgiven her.
No. And Gabriel never asked for it because he knew. But he just wanted Adian to know, like, he just wanted him to be safe. This. Aelin giving him the blood oath after he died to honor him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's apart from the 13, he's the only, like...
Yeah. I think this is the one that hurt me the most because Adian was slowly coming around to the fact that he might have somebody that would be in, like, a father figure, like, if he let him. And the fact that, like, on the way there, like, Gabriel was literally just like, am I going to be quick enough? Am I going to be soon enough to protect him? Will he know that I'm doing this all for him? Like, it's not off my own back. I'm not doing it for Rowan. I'm doing it for Adian. And the fact that then he gets there, and yeah, I was always say this, he literally says to close the door and keep them all in and safe. I was like,
as much as I really wanted to see more of them bonding as a father-son,
I feel like this almost is stronger. If that makes sense. Like,
I feel like it was
that Gabriel was doing it for him. There's no way that this can be misinterpreted.
Yeah. I know, I'm sad.
I'm sorry. I know, but this book is literally just sadness after sadness after sadness.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's
a lot. Can we talk about the fact that Aelin gets the title Queen of Terrasen and the Fairy Queen of the fucking West?
Yeah, because Maeve isn't the.
But also the his sister, cousin gets Fairy Queen of the East. Like,
we just need like a Wizard of Oz type thing now. You're a bad witch.
Oh, I just loved it. Literally, as they were saying it, I was like, the fact that you see her coronation and that Adian gets the blood oath. And then we see the wedding. Lysandra. I was not okay. Like, the amount of happy emotions that were happening by the end of this. Like, considering how 100 pages before I'd been, like, so close to tears.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to the end and I was like, yeah. Feelings were a mess.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else we've got. So, Aelin and Rowan we talked about. Kaelin, Dorian we talked about. Irene. What about... So we saw Ansel of Briarcliff.
I feel as if, like, the only thing that we can talk about with Ansel and the Silent Assassins is the fact that
Ansel, Ilias, Galen, Ravi, and then they all kind of came in, did their bits, and then fucked off.
I feel like the only thing that we can say about those is the fact that her and Elias kind of, like, have a thing. We knew they already kind of had a thing, but then, like, it's very obvious that, like, that thing hasn't diminished and that there's forgiveness there, which I kind of loved.
Yeah. I love that in the whole book. I love that there's a comment that Aelin makes, because obviously she didn't see him arriving, where obviously everybody thought that she had. I love that there's literally a statement where she's like, did you speak at all? And he just is like, I just loved it. Like, the fact that it was like that, like, friendly jab of, come on, man, you can do it. And he's just like, no.
It's also the fact that, like, she talks to her cousin and she's like, it's nice to actually meet you. And he's like, I thought we'd done this before, but hi, nice to meet you. I'm sorry that we didn't come last time.
I just loved it so much. And I do like the Caganate, I have to admit. I like the fact that they have seen a different land that doesn't conquer as much. Like, that they've seen there's other options for both Dorian, for Manon, and for Aelin when they all get to their crowns. Like, there's options. And I love that, especially for Manon, because obviously Manon, the way that she grew up in her last like 500 years has been shit. Like
Yeah,
the
it's going to
turnaround
be.
she's had and the ability to not lead with fear and with pain and agony, and actually being able to be like, right, let's go, like we can do this, we can help people, we can free people. And that's got them back into the wastes. Like the fact that Ansel and her were both like, we can share them. That's the one thing I wanted to say about Ansel. The fact that they had that conversation where she was like, if we get through this, I will share. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, and I feel as if like it's there's a lot of things in this where it's like it's a lot of compromise, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of compromise from characters you didn't think were going to compromise.
Oh, the fact the fairies saved her twice, and the fact that everybody was like, why are we following now? And she's like, no, it's fine. Like, it's okay. Let's just follow them. And they got them like under and like safely through so much quicker than they would have done.
And let's be real, we've had this hint from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because
this
little
was one of the hints that I did actually pick up on, but I didn't know how deep it was.
But yeah, the little folk, obviously they're in the first book, and they're the ones who pave, like they pave the way when she's being kind about the trees and stuff like that when she's coming back from Mendovia.
Yeah, it's right back in book one. Like I did remember that part.
It's even like it's probably like the first like 50 pages.
Yeah. I don't know if I thought that she would actually get their crown, but considering like the Lord of the North came and was her literal steed. Sorry, I just remembered that we hadn't mentioned that. That was one of the messages I got from Lisa. It literally just was Lord of the North in capital letters. Like I don't know how I knew that it was coming because obviously we'd seen them multiple times by that point. But yeah, good thought. As hard as it is to say he was the death I coped the best with. I mean, we don't really see him that much, but I think I loved the cadre and how they came around from being like totally under Maeve's thumb for like decades, like not even decades, centuries, to realizing that life in Blood Oath is actually better, or it should be better.
Mm-hmm.
And them all digesting and realizing the fucking shit that they've had to do. Because let's face it, everybody under Maeve has not had a nice time.
No.
Maeve's death seemed quicker than I remembered it being.
Yeah.
I have never cheered so much in my car at the two deaths that happened so quickly, one after the other. Like that, well, it wasn't really deaths, but like that whole thing, and then it turned so quickly. I loved Irene's part in that as well. She is so good. Also, what's her name? The ghost who kind of helped Aelin at the beginning dying.
Elena.
Yeah. And Brannon?
Brannon came back.
Brannon was in a few times talking to
and the fact that like Aelin was like, hey, we know that they're going to be able to get rid of Erwan, so can we give Elena her happiness? And then they were like, lol, no.
And the fact that Dorian was like, this is going to happen soon, go see her so that you've said bye in case you don't.
There was a lot.
This book is a lot. This book is amazing. I am so glad. Like, I know that every time we did a set of books in Schwab Along, like, we got to the end and we're like, oh my God, that's the end of another trilogy. Like, moving on, we'll do this next. But it being 8 books, that was, like, way more intense and just such a deep dive overall.
I think as well because the world is so big and the world is so detailed and the world is so, like, weaved into all of the books.
Yeah. I think the only trilogy that could have bet it from Schwab, or that is up there with it, is a Darker Shade of Magic.
I've still not read those books.
I love those books.
I feel as if because so many people have said that it's so good, I'm just very, very hesitant to pick it up.
I wouldn't have picked it up if it hadn't been for Schwab Along. But that's why I'm making myself pick up a back author and then read their entire backlist.
Okay, so I feel as if like we've kind of gone through all of the book. So
literally looking at the map to make sure that we haven't missed anything.
I don't think
so. The only thing we haven't really mentioned is the fact that Rolf got like all of his guys and was a bit less of an ass in this one, but he
Yeah,
was
but
still an ass.
he wasn't really there, so I don't really care that much. I'm not gonna lie. So final thoughts of the Throne of Glass series. Favorite book, or one that stands out the most? I feel like I should say instead.
Probably this one.
Okay.
I can't differentiate the tandem read now.
That's very valid. I feel
because I did it that way. I think, funnily enough, the first time I tried to read this, I got about 10 pages into the Assassin's Blade and stopped. All I did. And it was about 12 years ago or something around there, 2013 maybe. That one actually sticks out because I know now how important all of the characters are.
Yeah.
And I think Queen of Shadows would be my top 3.
Okay.
I think.
Obviously, my favorite
because
is.
I've read them so quickly in a row, I can't actually figure out which one's which. But this one and Assassin's Blade are definitely, they're all 5 stars. I love the whole thing.
I still feel as if like nothing will ever top Air of Fire. Air of Fire is
I know you guys think that.
and it's not even just because of Rowan. It's just that there is something in that book that just makes my heart whole.
Yeah.
Okay. So
do not ask me a favorite character. I love that. I knew that was coming. Manon.
Nice.
Obviously, because I've ranted and raved about her since she arrived.
The amount of times I got messages from Emma being like, if she does not like Manon, I am going to rage.
No, it was never something we had to worry about. I think Manon and then Aelin.
Nice.
And then top 3, I'd probably say either Lysandra or Lead.
Nice. Appreciate. Okay, so predictions in sense of what you think you're going to be doing for ACOTAR. I know you know very little about ACOTAR.
I know nothing. I know the title.
You know a very, very simple synopsis that you've probably forgotten already.
Something about somebody killing someone in a forest.
Do you want me to do it?
Using it for?
Do you want me to kind of give you a synopsis, or do you want to go in blind? Very, very brief, very non-spoilery synopsis.
Yeah, if I think I should have it, then go for it. But otherwise, I'm happy going in blind. I'm doing it anyway.
Either way.
No, I think I'm good. Yeah, I'll just open it and start. I'm rubbish. Yeah.
It's one thing that it's very much so. This is a fantasy romance, whereas ACOTAR's a romance fantasy, a romantasy.
Yeah. I think I will be using headphones for the audiobooks.
First one's not too bad, but I would say for further on.
Yeah, there's a few times in this one that Richie walked down the stairs and I was like, pause. But funnily enough, I never hear him until he's like at the bottom of the stairs because of my hearing. So he's probably already fucking heard it. So because his hearing is nowhere near as bad as mine. No, it'll be fine. I have them all now.
Amazing.
It is sitting right there waiting for me to read, along with Nevernight.
Nice.
Someone else will be happy about.
It's me. I'm the person who's happy.
Who's everybody else's characters? And see if you all say Rowan. It's going to be boring.
I mean, no, Aelin's my favorite.
Okay, cool.
Aelin is my favorite.
Yeah.
Aelin is my favorite. Rowan is a close second, but Aelin is my favorite. I also think Lysandra and Alida probably top there as well. I would say,
which is why I'm like, I don't know which one I would pick.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm not surprised at that. I'm not surprised
at that either.
I
just love Manon. If anybody hasn't figured out in the last few books, I don't know where you've been.
I think it's been really nice to reread these with a purpose, because usually I will just reread them, and like I said, one of my last
You've already picked 3.
you've named all of them other than Kale. Not that I know you.
Oh, I love this. Oh,
Adian.
Adian is cool though. Like,
but yeah, I've really enjoyed deep diving into this book, into this series, and into this world, and kind of reading it alongside someone who's not read them before, because like I'm never stopping the Kale hate, because as I said in the last live show that you weren't here, sorry Raymond, he said something that just made me forever being a Kale hater. Unfortunately, I can't. I lost a lot of respect for him in this last reread, and I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. He should be a better person.
What was that? Thank you for doing it with me. I know that obviously, I know that it's your favorite book and you will never say no to a reread, but like it's a big undertaking to do 8 books of these, but not only that, but continue.
I had a really bad mental health day the other day, and I legitimately almost picked up Air of Fire again, and I was like, no, do not reread it before the live show.
Because then you will forget what's happened. See, I've been wanting to pick up A Court of Thorns and Roses, but I was like, I can't do that. Like, I know that it's 2 different series, but I'm adamant that I'm not picking up the next one until we've done one.
Yeah, I'm the same.
So I've got this, but I've obviously also starting Chronicles of Ixia now, so I get to do 2 live shows a month still.
That was your own fault.
That is, well, technically it's Andy's, but yeah. I mean, I'm never going to say no to making, this is my you. Like, I'm never going to say no to making people read Maria, so.
I'm going to actually continue that series because I've read 6 of those books, and I really need to read more.
I'm excited. Charlotte Becker friend also messaged me today saying that she loved them and hasn't read them since they came out, so she's going to do a reread with us as well. Nice. Which is cool. But I'm really excited to continue with a series that I haven't read. Like, it's nice, like, having an author that I can now say I've read. Like, I've read most of Schwab now. I've just got like threads.
You've read half of SGM as well.
Yeah.
Literally half.
Wow.
You're halfway through it.
And considering I bought them 5 years ago. Like, I started buying them 5 years ago and I hadn't read any of them until we started this.
And you love them.
I love them. It's the same as always, though. Like, the ability of people being like, oh my God, I love them. And then me panicking that I'm not going to love them is what puts me off reading them.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm so glad that this is why I love you guys, because I literally make a random ass comment about how I need to read Schwab or how I need to read Mass. And you guys like, oh, I love them. Come on, let's go. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, that'll make me read it. Let's go. Since reading, also, if anybody has any memes about Throne of Glass now, you can send me them. Okay. Because I know you have all been saving them and sending them to each other. You can send me them all now.
Okay.
Only for Throne of Glass, but I expect my messages to come through. I meant to say that earlier. Since reading these books, the memes of Aelin will never go to Skull's Bay has cropped up. You need to send me that. This is what reminded me. Roughly the end of the first week in May. I think I was saying to Andy sometime between the 6th and the 8th, but it'll depend on when we do the next one. But we normally do the second Monday, roughly, so.
I will need to do it before the weekend of the 12th, because I'm going down to London to see Becca, and then the week after that it is show week.
Okay. So yeah, so you'll need to do Akatar and Poison Study between the 8th and the 11th, roughly. Guessing. I haven't asked Andy for an actual date, but that's the Monday to the Thursday. Can't wait to do the Akatar reread, starting when I'm in Spain on Saturday. Oh no, I might start. Yes, no, do it. Do it. But yeah, I hope everybody's going to continue and read A Court of Thorns and Roses. I know that Vicky was thinking of continuing. I think she's read the first one, maybe, or read the first 2. That or she's going to reread it. I can't remember. But she said she was thinking of joining in as well. I'm excited. How do I say the main characters' names? That's the only question I'm going to ask. So I can't remember if it's this one or if it's Crescent City that has the ones that are, again, spelled differently than they look.
We will come to that next.
But it won't help me for reading it if you do it in the next show.
You can get audiobooks.
This is true. Never mind. I'm intrigued to see how I feel about rereading ACOTAR.
We don't know yet.
We don't know, but it will be before the 11th of May.
Right. Yeah. Let's just. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the craziness, Smash. Thanks for putting up with me not knowing what the hell's going on, and I'm really proud of me wanting to see Nox. I'm going to put that down to like number one thought, I think, for like 7 books ahead of where I was going. But with that, we will end it here, and we will talk to you all later. Bye.
Bye.